that is at the end, the last paragraph, is so very important because it talks about how she herself saw the report for the child pornography, as well as the report from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and confirmed for her very own eyes that he is a pedophile and a danger to my kids. And she also talks about my son's prolapse rectum as well in this paragraph.
Yep, right here. Right here. And even right here at the end of the previous paragraph. And you were touching this a minute ago. I find Kara's concerns about her children's safety while in the care of their father to be reasonable. This is a representative of the police department. The victim services branch of Elgin Police finds your concerns reasonable. And then it goes on just to kind of point out why she agrees. I understand that children have been living with a man who has admitted to raping her and whose computer hard drive contained many anime drawings of underage children engaging in sexual acts with adults and some photographs of actual children in their underwear. Yet, no consequences, no repercussions. By definition, by law, they're saying these images may not be sufficient to prosecute the father for possession, but they are disturbing. And here we've got something that is critical to backing every one of your concerns by an official at the Elgin Police who, with 30 plus years of experience, whose opinion is completely thrown out, dismissed. 30 years. At what point in life does your opinion become valuable in the eyes of the courts? Apparently, it's more than 30 years.
The other thing is, I would think that the Elgin Police Department would have gone with someone else if this woman wasn't entirely credible. And if she, obviously they trusted her enough to hold this position. And and this GAL, this Julie Pirtle, I've tried to dig up other cases that she has done. I think I am either her first case or her second case, because what she is known for is being a divorce attorney and not representing children.
And her credentials are divorce attorney, family court. She doesn't have any child behavioral experience. She doesn't have any training with child psychology. She's just a mother of two, just like you, correct?
That is correct. And this same woman has made allegations that I falsified DCFS reports. She has made allegations that my entire group of friends and family are all conspiring together to convince my children that they're being sexually molested. And what's really interesting about that, and I sent you the transcripts, is the fact that when we were in court, she specifically stated that 8 mandated reporters contacted DCFS in regards to my son's prolapse rectum. Now, given my son was in the hospital for 3 or 4 days straight, and mandated reporters would be considered teachers, nurses, doctors, or someone that is professional, it would have to have been staff at the hospital who made those reports. So if hospital staff aren't enough, if a domestic therapist from the Elgin Police Department's opinion isn't enough, like what exactly is going to be enough for these people for them to admit that they were wrong?
Right. And I mean, even right here in her report, Kara's erratic behavior with my office, DCFS, and the Elgin Police Department. We just looked. Your interactions with Victim Services Department of Elgin Police Department, there was no mention of erratic behavior. As a matter of fact, they agreed and found it reasonable.
Yes, that's correct.
So right here is a lie. In an official court, let's scroll to the top. So this is the report we've been talking about. This is the report of the Guardian ad litem. The date isn't on here, but you can see it's a report. It's all stamped. It's all official. When did this report come out? You were just saying, was it August, September?
I'm not sure specifically when that report came out. I thought that was August because I think she gave that report, and this is what's really crazy. She gave this report the same time that my son was hospitalized, and DCFS implemented a safety plan keeping my son and my daughter away from Thomas and his father due to my son's prolapse rectum, because the hospital wasn't even able to fix my son's prolapse rectum. Even after surgery, my son's rectum popped out 5 times. And I have the hospital report where it shows that he had an anal pap smear done, which was done to check for HPV and other sexually transmitted diseases. So he had a sexual assault kit done before DCFS was ever even involved.
Yeah, and she right here in her report claims that she had the medical records for both children. So she says for each child. So she would have had the medical records backing what you just stated from the hospital.
Exactly.
It's
and the
right
medical records that I'm talking about right now were sent to me directly from Tom on our family wizard. So he can't even claim that I have a different set of records than he does because he sent me the same exact record. Because the only way I'm able to get any medical information regarding my children is through him, because he was given medical authority, he was given majority decision making, and he was given majority education, even though they never gave me an evidentiary hearing. And this is all pretty much based upon her recommendation and her crap.
So no due process, no fact finding, no honoring and reviewing official police reports, DCFS reports, medical records that there's claimed. All of that was given based off of nothing, really. I mean, sounds like they just do what they want to do. No due process. One thing, where was that? I just seen something. Oh, so real quick, so that everybody knows, you said Our Family Wizard. That is a communication app. You probably have to subscribe through. That allows you to securely transfer informations, I guess files, documentation, messages. It allows you and the father to communicate so that this information can be submitted as evidence in court, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Just want everybody to know. I know there's different parenting plan apps or parenting communication apps and stuff like that out there. And just wanted everybody to be aware of what Our Family Wizard is. What's the other one? I think it's Popular Parenting Talk or something. Okay. What else in this report? I think when we were talking earlier, so we were talking earlier on the police report, and I'd mentioned we were going to jump back and forth on page 19 here.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that? So in here, she states right here. So it says DCFS investigators have expressed their concern, as well as various police officers involved in this matter. Specifically, Detective Katie Phillips from the Elgin Police Department has been asked that she be notified immediately if Kara ever received unsupervised parenting time, because they have serious concerns for the safety of the children. How is Katie Phillips and the other lady we were talking about that released the report just a second ago, we were looking at this one, Lark.
Mm-hmm.
Do these two communicate? I mean, because it seems clearly right here, I find Kara's concerns about her children's safety while in the care of their father to be reasonable. This
Yes.
is from Elgin Police Department. Yet she's referencing a conversation with somebody else who obviously that conversation fit the GAL's narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this, do we know how this detective and the victim services lady with 30 plus years of experience, how they interact on a day-to-day? Do they not speak with each other involving anything investigative?
Yes, they do speak to each other day to day. So Katie would have been privy to that report as well. And what I find so interesting is that Detective Katie Phillips, was the lead investigator on my sexual assault that Thomas admitted to. And she had all this evidence, the text messages, the Facebook messages, of him admitting to this assault, of him admitting that he had multiple personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder. He even admitted in messages that he almost beat a kid to death and that he was a danger to my kids. And Katie Phillips saw all of these messages. They're actually in the Elgin police report that I have, that anyone can FOIA. It's 19-17618. So anyone can see all the evidence that they had. There's even an email from my former attorney talking about everything that was discussed in court, which was everything I just laid out. And they had that evidence as well. So either there's one of two things going on here. Either Detective Phillips is somehow connected to Julie, or Detective Katie Phillips never said any of this, and Julie is just stating it for her own narrative purposes. Now, she has lied before. I have caught her in a lie before, because in the emergency motion they used to take my children, or emergency petition, whatever it is you want to call it, it states specifically on there that I never sent Julie Pirtle the emergency order of protection that I got for my daughter against her grandfather in Cook County. And I have the email correspondence with Julie proving that I sent that. And I've brought that up to the court multiple times. So she perjured herself. Mm-hmm. And it was proven that she perjured herself in front of Judge John G. Dalton. And she still was not removed from the case.
That's one of the things about any court that just continues to blow my mind, is how perjury doesn't apply when you're on the other side of the bar, or the gate, or whatever you want to call it. That they, when you're in the courtroom, you can say whatever you want. Now, if me and you said something, it's a different story. We can't back it up. Now, you can see all through this report and all the other reports, all this information that you're talking about, it has been released on Facebook for in Justice for Kara's Kids. That page has all this information. I'll definitely be linking to it. Obviously, here at United Parents for Children, we reference that group a lot. But all throughout this report, are there any other lies in here that, because it's, I've read it. It just really seems, again, she's taking this fantasy that she's trying to create, and just trying to continue to mold it into something that is believable. Yet everything that you've got, everything that you've submitted, everything that you've factually spoke on, that drives away this fantasy, is just continue to fall on deaf ears in court. And even today, even after one judge has recused himself, and you have a new judge who probably is still being directed behind the doors by the old judge, or at least influenced.
Oh, well, that's already proven. I went on the new judge's Facebook page, and he's friends with my old judge. He's friends with my judge's husband, who's extremely politically connected. He is friends with Joe McMahon, who is the state's attorney, who refuses to prosecute Tom for my assault, as well as the child pornography. So yeah, he's connected to all of the same players who have been repeatedly ignoring evidence throughout this entire process. So this new judge, actually, what's interesting about him, he was trying to get me to sign a contract to see my kids for $15 an hour with government supervision. And I straight up told this new judge no, because I know what you're doing. You have nothing proving me to be unfit. You have no evidence showing anything for the court that I shouldn't have my children. So you just want something on paper. And I'm not going to give that to you, because then I'll never be able to get my kids back. And I'll never be able to get custody, because there'll be something on paper showing I need government supervision just to be with my kids. And not only that, but that could seriously affect my job. I'm a CNA. I can't be if I have to be supervised with my own kids, what does that mean about me as a professional?
Yeah, you'll lose the you'll lose your what is it, certification license.
Yeah, I'll lose my CNA license.
Yeah. And you said $15 an hour. Wasn't there a much larger charge prior to that?
Oh yeah, so that's what I also found interesting. Before it was $900 a month. Now it's for just $15 an hour. And he literally sounded like a barker. For just $15 an hour, you can see your kids today. That's how desperate they are to get me to sign something. And what also happens when you agree to this government supervision, you're giving the GALs everything.
Mm-hmm.
These are basically like spies for the GAL. That's what you're doing when you're signing yourself into a contract like this.
Yep.
So I highly encourage every single parent to refuse that unless there's absolute grounds for it. The only reason any parent should be supervised by the government with their children is if they're a sex offender, if they're a convict, if they pose a serious risk to the children and it's been proven in court and is completely justifiable. That's the only thing that I can really think of why anyone would need to have government supervision with their children. And it is because of this court system and this GAL in particular, Julie Pirtle, as well as Judge John G. Dalton and Judge Renee Cruz, that my son is dead. Because they knew what was going on. In fact, in this report, it talks about how my son and my daughter repeatedly had injuries and bruises. And the GAL chalked it up to childhood play. My daughter had a partial black eye. She had a busted lip. My son had a chipped tooth. My son had a bruise on his forehead. My daughter had a nickel-sized bruise on her lower leg. She had bruising on her sides, on her lower back. There was a contusion. She had a bruise underneath her